Hi guys, welcome to day 2 of archery. Today we will be learning about our 11 steps of archery success. And I will go through that so that you guys can all go through it too and be ready to successfully shoot your bow and arrow for next class. So before I begin, I will review what we did last class. So last class we learned about the range setup. What we would do when we go outside, we would put the targets in front of the net. We would take our bows and put them on the pallet that our group is going to be using. We would grab our arrows to put in our quiver and to set up like this on the shooting line. And once we're all behind the waiting line, then we would be able to begin. So just to reiterate, safety is the #1 priority. So you have to be behind the waiting line if you are not the group that is going up to go shoot. So another big reminder, let's go over our whistle commands. That is very important. So let's remember, one whistle is shoot. 2 whistle commands is get bow. 3 whistle commands is to go get your arrows. Sounds like that. And very, 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 very most important whistle command that we will have is 5 or more whistle commands, and that is for everyone to stop what they are doing, to unrack their bow, put their arrow back in the quiver, put their bows back on the pallet, and everybody needs to go behind the waiting line so that we can fix whatever emergency is happening, just in case like a ball from another court comes flying in, and anything like that. So that whistle command will sound like this. So just to remember, that is very important. We all go back to our waiting line. Continue. Okay, let's move on. So today is the 11 steps of archery success. This is going to be your shot setup. This is so important for your success in archery so that we can all be successful. We can all focus on the outcome. So first and foremost, before we even pick up the bow, is our stance. Number 1 is stance, number 2 is to knock your arrow, 3 is your draw hand set, 4 is your bow hand set, 5 is pre-draw, 6 is draw, 7 anchor, 8 aim, 9 shot setup, 10 release, and 11 is follow through and reflect. So I will quickly show you what it looks like, and then I'll break it down and explain each part. Okay, so I am ready, so I will stand to this side of the quiver so that my left foot is towards the target. Okay, so step 1 is for me to get into my stance. Step 2 would be to knock my arrow. Keep it like this. Step 3 would be a draw hand set, which is this hand. Remember, 3 fingers under the knock. Then 4 is bow hand set, is when you finally pick up the bow. And then 5 would be pre-draw, which means you're getting ready. 6, you're drawing, so that's when you're pulling your bow back. And then you're anchoring, which means you're just anchoring your shot. You're aiming at the target, setting up your shot setup, and then you're going to release and follow through and reflect. So let me go one by one to each of these. They're all very important. So number 1, stance. So if you are a righty, your right foot would be back and your left foot would be facing the target, okay? You want to be shoulder width apart, and when you're looking at your feet, they shouldn't be right next to each other. The foot that is closest to the target should be a little bit back so that your toe is in line with the middle of your right foot, your back foot. That is your stance. So shoulder width apart, you want to have an open stance, ready and solid, ready to pull back and aim. All right? Any questions on the stance? Then step number 2 is to knock arrow. When you do this, it is so important that you remember you are going to take your hand, but your draw hand, you are putting your thumb down to the ground. When you go to pick up your arrow, you're picking up your arrow underneath the feathers, okay? underneath and pulling your arrow straight up. Then you are turning your arrow parallel to the ground, okay? Parallel to the ground, and then you'll have your bow in your hand. And you're gonna keep the arrow parallel, you're gonna put it up and over the bow and able to knock it that way. Now this is very important because when your arrow is in the quiver, you do not want to grab it by any of these pieces on the arrow. It is the feathers and the knob, and they are very fragile. And if you pull from it, it can break the arrow, and we do not want that. So, very important, go down to the ground, underneath the feathers, parallel to the ground, and up and over. I should never see anyone pulling this up and swinging their arrow around because this tip is very, very sharp. And that is very, very dangerous. And we want to make sure that we are being safe at all times. So that is step number 2. Step number 2 is to knock your arrow. So that's what you do. Underneath and down, up and over, knock your arrow. And when we all practice, I will show you the click you're supposed to hear into the bow. And I will make sure that each and every one of you hears that click so that you know what to expect each time you go up and shoot. Okay? So now we have our arrow knocked, we're in our stance. Now we have our draw hand set. So the hand that you are pulling the string with is your draw hand. Okay? So everybody pull up that hand and look at your pointer finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Do you see those lines in your fingers? You want to line up the string with your pointer finger and ring finger, those lines. You do not want to line up that string with your middle finger line because there is a nerve in your hand that if you pull that too hard, that string on that bend, it'll make your hand go numb. So to make sure that we're all being safe, you're using your pointer finger and your ring finger on the string, and your middle finger, you want to set up the string about in the middle of the 2 creases, okay? So that's your draw hand set. So when you get right up on the bow and you're ready to pull back. Then it's your bow hand set. So the hand that you're holding the bow with is when you're going to pick up your bow. Make sure your arm is nice and straight next to you, that you're holding it at a comfortable position, and that you're not squeezing the bow too tight, but you're holding it with a good grip. Okay? It's your bow hand set. So you're here, right? And it's your pre-draw. So you're getting ready. And you're drawing. When you draw your string back, you want to make sure you are pulling it far enough so that your hand is right next to your jaw and your cheek. Okay? You should be using your back muscles. You should be drawing that string backwards. Alright? Draw. Okay. Draw means you pull your string back, and then anchor. Anchoring is very important to your shot success, okay? Because that is going to be the way that your bow is not bouncing around before you shoot, and then your arrow goes to where you didn't want your arrow to go, okay? So when you're here, draw, you're gonna anchor. So you're gonna take your draw hand, okay? And you're gonna look at your pointer finger and your thumb. This little spot right here, you are going to take your thumb and you are going to anchor it underneath your jaw. So everybody try that right now. Show me your draw hand and show me anchoring it under. So it should be your thumb going underneath your jaw, and while you're pretending to hold a string. Okay? That is going to get you a very, very solid shot where your bow won't be bouncing around and moving around. So that's what it needs to anchor you with this. Okay? Your thumb under there. Get ready. Your bow is solid. You have your draw. You're aiming, right? So that's the next step. Step number 8 is to aim. You are going to aim by looking at the point of the arrow. Okay? So when you are drawn back, you want to line up the point of the arrow with where you want to shoot on the target. Okay? So you look down at the tip of the arrow. After you anchor, you want to make sure you're nice and solid. Aim with that tip of the arrow. And then we get to step number 9, which is your shot setup, which means you just want to make sure you're there, ready to go. Aiming, shot setup, your stance is correct, arm is correct, your back is correct, and you're anchored, you're solid, and you're ready to go. That's for number 10 when you will release. And that's when you will release this and let go of the string. When you release, it is very important that you are staying solid and that you release straight back, okay? With your arm, you want to think that you are painting your face with your fingers, right? So you let go of the string and you're pretending you're painting your face. You want your thumb to finish your shot on your shoulder. So that will look like this. Paint the face, thumb on the shoulder, okay? That will make sure that your arrow goes exactly where you aimed it to and exactly where you want it to go, okay? If you let go of it like this, that throws your other arm out, your arrow's gonna go somewhere crazy, right? So when you release it, paint your face, let your thumb drag across your shoulder, and then that gets us to step number 11, our last step. Follow through and reflect. So after you release that shot and you painted your face and your thumb went to your shoulder, think about how that shot felt more over than where that arrow went exactly on the target, okay? We can always improve on our aim and all that stuff, on hitting the target, right? Everybody wants that bullseye, but it's more important that we focus on getting that shot set up correct and feel solid so that you can improve your aim without having to improve on any of these other steps, right? So we want our setup to be secure and solid, not so much worried about where the shot is going. We will have time to practice, we will have days to go out, shoot, practice, right? Work on our aim and end up finally scoring and all that, but that is later on in this course. Right now we are just working on getting this shot set up nice and secure and solid so that you can be as successful as you possibly can, all right? So let's go through it real quick. Number 1, stand, shoulder width apart. Foot towards the target is back a little bit so that your toes are in the middle of the foot, right? Shoulder width apart, straddling the shooting line, knees are nice and bent, you're ready to go. 2 knock arrow. What is the most important thing? Where's my thumb facing? Thumb's facing down, right? Underneath the feathers, you're knocking your arrow. You're going parallel to the ground, and then you're going up and over. Clicking your arrow, your knock into the underneath the knocking point of the bow. Okay. Draw hand set, you're getting those 3 fingers ready. I can actually go around and show everybody right now what that would look like on the bow. So if you look where those 2 lines are on your pointer and middle finger, pointer and ring finger, I'm sorry, you can see where I am getting my draw hand set so that my middle finger is not on that crease, okay? So that's the draw hand set. And this little knocking point that we talked about, remember? Your arrow is gonna get knocked right underneath this little knocking point so that it's in the same spot every single time. Your fingers will be right up against that arrow, and you wanna make sure it's in the same spot every time so you can have a successful shot, right? The bow hand set, you wanna make sure you have a loose enough grip on here where you're not fully squeezing. Like, you see the difference when you're fully squeezing it? That's gonna make it, the bow, shake and all that, and we don't want that. So a nice loose grip, okay? You're not gonna drop it, and then you're just gonna draw it back, right? So that's what the bow hand set and the draw hand set would look like up close. Do we have any questions so far? I feel like this is a lot, right? I will have a sign out there for you that you can read through the 11 steps while you practice the 11 steps. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? We're gonna go through the 11 steps to archery success one by one. Everyone's gonna try it. Everyone's gonna do it. I'm gonna work with every single one of you and make sure that you each can do the 11 steps so that when we go out and finally shoot, you are ready to go and we can have a fun and safe time. So the next